Well, good morning, and thanks for joining us for two Pastor Bobs and a microphone. And I'm so glad you're here with us today. We are waiting for Pastor Bob 1.0, the original Pastor Bob, to log in, and then we will get going with our show. Want to see how everything is going, and we're just working out a few bugs here, and I'm wanting to see about getting everybody in here. So let's see here. All right, let me see if I can get Pastor Bob in here. So you have to apologize every once in a while. We had a few glitches in the show, and today's one of those days where the tech stuff just doesn't want to seem to work right. So we're trying our best here to get going here. Joe Borland says, "Good morning, brother. God bless you as well, Joe. Thanks for joining us this morning." I'm going to do one thing here and see if I'm able to get Pastor Bob in the room. Let me do this. Again, I apologize for double tasking here. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to do this and this. All right. Let's see if that brings Pastor Bob in the room. So let me know where you're from. Let me know what's going on here. And we have 14 guests that are watching, and I'm glad that you are joining us. We have Amber Browning saying, hey, 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 y'all. I'm guessing you're from the South, Amber. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing with the y'all, that might be the deal there. Rob Talbot, morning from the Talbot family. Thanks for joining us, Rob. Glad you could join us. We have a good show today. Amber says she needs to drive to find some Wi-Fi. So David says he's from Virginia Beach. Hello, David. Glad you can join us this morning. And it's always good to have you with us here. Gonna just mess around here with the settings. And Jeff Mitchell, good morning. Good morning to you, Jeff. Amber says my relatives are. I'm in Cincinnati. Well, there you go. I assumed from the y'all that you were from the South. So my bad on that. Let's see if we can bring Pastor Bob 2.0 into the show here.
Here we are. I don't know what happened. I was sitting backstage in the green room, and I don't know.
I was just explaining to the viewers today that some weeks this runs really smooth, other weeks there are little glitches. And you've had a big glitch this week, didn't you?
I had a big glitch. I'm actually one of my friends owns a restaurant here in town, and I actually am using one of his back rooms, party rooms, to do this. I have no internet. Yeah, so
yeah, what happened? They were putting lawn in at your house, and they ended up cutting the cable.
yeah, they're putting in. My ducks and geese are tough on the yard. And so the place where the ducks and geese are, we had to replant, but they keep eating the seed. So they had to put plugs in the ground to do that. And
Oh
as they
no.
were cultivating the ground, the internet cable was only about 1 or 2 inches. So they
Really?
nicked it. And yeah, so that was that in 5 days. Now, Bob, I have to tell you that 5 days without an internet is going to be a challenge. You don't understand how many things you use it for, you know, and I think it kind of runs our life these days.
Yeah, I think so. And when it's gone, I mean, it's such a way of life that, I mean, even for businesses and whatnot, it's devastating if internet goes down.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And I realize how much I do on the internet. How many things every time I think, okay, I got to do that. No, I don't have internet. I got to do that. No, I don't have internet. And
Yeah.
so Bob, as I line things up, my workspace is ridiculous. So I have my iPad Pro,
Uh-huh.
I have my MacBook, I have my iPad Mini, I have my iPhone, and they're all lined up, and I use them all at the same time.
You know, I
And
saw I saw the picture that you posted from the from Starbucks the other day, and I was like, my
yeah,
goodness,
I know.
with that much technology in front of you, that much beams coming in, one could go sterile from all the
Well, I think that's true.
all the
I think
radiation
that's
coming
true.
in.
Oh my gosh. Well, if that could
So
happen, then I am. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
Carrie says good morning. She's right here in my neck of the
Carrie,
woods. You know, of course, you know Carrie from the
I
visits
sure
there.
do. Yeah, it's good to see you, Carrie. She says, "Good morning, PB 1 and 2."
One
She's
and
included
two.
both of us. Yeah,
Yes.
I think she likes you better, but we
You know,
love Carrie.
and it's kind of sad. She's moving. She's
She is
yeah, she's
really out
moving
of the city.
to the Green Bay area. So
What?
um
What?
I know it's not allowed. And so she's gonna be doing that and won't be at
Yeah.
Radiant anymore. She'll be popping in here and there, but it's not it's good for her, I guess, but bad for us.
Yes,
Well,
exactly.
you know what, Pastor Bob? Let me just play this video clip really quick, okay?
Yeah.
It's your birthday today.
Thank you. It is. I know.
And our favorite
I've
line,
never seen that clip. That's
no,
awesome.
and from our favorite movie, 69 dudes.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
69.
Yeah, from Bill and Ted. And it's 69 on the outside, and I'm looking 69 on the outside, but it's still 21 on the inside, and that's the part I'm counting on.
Yes.
So, yes,
So Darren says
Darren says,
happy birthday.
yeah, thank you, Darren. He's awesome. And the birthday greetings are coming in. Thank you, folks, for that. So we have two guests that I kind of share birthdays with. Dana will be with us in a
Nice.
little while. He's a trucker. His birthday is actually today as well.
Ah,
We have shared a birthday for a lot of years, and when I lived in California, we used to go out and celebrate it. So, and then we have Joshua here. Joshua Perahia is with us today. He's one of our special guests, and I am 2 days older than he is.
ah,
So we share
okay.
a really close birthday.
So let me ask you
Yeah,
this. If Dana's mom was a trucker, okay, say if she was, would she be a mother trucker?
she is, and she is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you
That
go. Now I would say that 5 times really fast, but I won't ask you to do that because we could get into trouble there, couldn't
we
we?
could. So I have an aunt
Yeah.
that I mean, she grew up in Florida. She was in the Bible Belt. She married my uncle, solid Christian, wouldn't swear a day in her life. And we had that restaurant back. I remember this back in the late 80s. Fuddruckers opened by us,
Yes,
the
right.
restaurant. And she was telling us at Christmas, big Christmas get together, about this new restaurant. She was trying to pronounce. She dropped the F bomb like 10 times in a row, trying to pronounce it. And man, I was like, man,
Man,
you're gonna be at the altar call on Sunday, you
oh
know?
my gosh. And that was easy. I remember when that was happening, and it
Yeah,
was hard to say it right.
it was.
And not that I'm used to saying the F word, but I think your tongue kind of gets tied because it's a difficult
Yes,
word. Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, that's awesome. Well,
Yep.
and it's been a good day, Bob. I One of my favorite things is to get birthday greetings, and thank you all for doing that right here. But I was before the show today, I was going through my Facebook to see, all the greetings there on my personal Facebook. And I was thinking how long I've known so many people. John Stills was on there. John, I've known since he was a DJ in California in the early 80s, late 70s.
Yeah.
He used to be the president of GMA, Gospel Music Association. He did that later on in the years. But, and then my friend Bob Burns, who I've been friends with for 50 years, and of course, Glenn Kaiser, and I'm just
Yeah.
trying to think off the top of my head, birthday greetings from those folks. And I'm just thinking, these people have been my friends for, well, Glenn Kaiser, probably 45 years, maybe,
Wow.
probably that long.
A
Yeah.
lot of good history there.
Well, isn't that great though?
Yeah.
I am old, I am 69, but I've got friends that I've had for most of my life too. And that's the biggest blessing. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Yeah.
is. I saw Glenn post on your Facebook page the day before, yesterday. And it's just neat to, whenever you guys are together, it's, I remember some of the videos and stuff you'd post from Cornerstone Festival, and, just
Oh yeah.
such a neat friendship you guys have had.
Yeah. It's so awesome. And Bob, I know I say this a lot, but I really value my friends, and I really value the friends that I've had for so many years. And
Yeah,
you and I have been friends for a lot of years.
we have. Yeah.
Yes. And then all the greetings that come in, you don't measure wealth in money and possessions, but you do measure it in friendships.
Yeah. Yep. And that's really how we first got to know each other. Some people know the story, but obviously I saw you as part of the sanctuary services at Cornerstone in the 90s. And
Yes.
but then when I became the pastor of this church I'm at here in Wapaka, I told my wife the first guest speaker I'm going to bring in, or attempt to. You see, I had you pictured as this person that was unreachable and would have to work through people to get
Ah,
to you and everything. And so I messaged you, and you messaged right back, you said it would be an honor to come. And next thing you know, I'm picking you
yeah,
up from the airport. So
that's funny.
and you were
But
my first
and
guest speaker as a pastor here.
and I remember it well. And Bob, the truth is, I really don't have people.
Yeah. No,
You know.
you're very approachable.
No, I just don't. And I wish I had a few more people to help, but I love that part, just being available.
And
Cheryl Bowman and all those that are greeting me, thank you so much. That's
And
awesome.
I honestly think that if you had more people, you would still handle the personal side of replying to everything. They would just handle the secretarial duties, I guess you would call
Yeah,
it.
that's true. I don't you love the personal side of it, Bob? That's the best part, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
I love when we
Yeah, it's
start
awesome.
getting junk posts like this one here. It says, "Want to become famous? Buy followers and viewers."
Wow.
Yeah.
I
You,
want to become famous.
right. We've hit it big when we get a bot following us on our feed.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's pretty
Good
good.
morning, Amber. That's awesome. Well, it is a blessing at 69 to still be alive. There are a lot of people that have been friends throughout my lifetime that are no longer living, that have passed.
Yeah.
And I realize that the older I get, the more that happens. And very honestly, and I was thinking about this morning, Bob, that I am so thankful that that I've reached 69, and I'm hoping that I reach 109.
Yeah, that would be great. We need you
Yeah, it
around
would
to
be.
109. 110
Yeah,
we won't, but 109, yes.
yeah,
You know.
exactly. My mom has an aunt that died not that long ago. My mom's 91, and her aunt died about 2 weeks away from her 109th birthday.
Wow, isn't that something?
So, yeah, so we have longevity. I'm hoping for that.
I
That'd
was
be
gonna say
awesome.
you come from what the old school would say, you come from good stock.
Yeah,
And
and I do.
yeah,
That's
your
true.
dad, your mom, man.
Yeah, it's
So
awesome.
yeah,
Awesome.
here we go. Look at this. This guy says metal blessings from Melbourne, Australia.
That's awesome. Good to see a name.
You know,
Awesome.
it's funny how we get folks that like last week it seemed like everybody was from Norway. Today we're getting Australia and stuff. It's neat to see the
Well,
different people that are
and
watching.
he's up late. I just talked to somebody from Australia just, well, probably 45 minutes ago,
Okay.
and it's late for them, and they were going to bed. It's like midnight. Well, it's probably past midnight now. So
Okay.
thanks for staying up late to watch. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yes.
So
Well, we have a very special guest. Is he with us yet, Bob?
nope, they're not in yet.
Well,
So
hopefully
I'm
he remembers.
yeah,
I
I'm
think
I'm I think, I think somewhere along the way, something glitched this morning, and I've been logged into this program for a while, so I'm going to re-email our guests.
yeah, why
Um,
don't you do that just to make sure, and let me text a few of them here and just make sure. I usually try to remind them that we're going on live. I think I saw Joshua Perahia in the green room a little while ago.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I tell you what, when you hear the name Joshua Pariah, I mean, now there is a name that carries some weight in the rock metal industry, with the projects that they've done. Obviously, as we'll talk about, Joshua worked with Jeff Fenholt and all these others, and just really turned out some good albums.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
Steve Aker
Yes.
says greeting from Hueytown, Alabama, I guess. So
That's awesome.
would
Good to
love to
see
have
you, Steve.
TV. What's
Great.
that?
I said it's good to see him. Good to see you,
Yeah.
Steve.
So it looks like
Great.
Steve's got a picture there with Grave Robber in his picture there. Um,
Awesome. And we've had them on a couple of weeks ago.
yeah.
We had Sean on.
Yep.
Yeah. Sean Browning.
And
Mm.
so and
Well,
then
I think the old link, that was my problem. The old link just didn't work, and it said I was live and said I was in the green room, but you didn't see me. So
no, I didn't. I
so I've just told a couple of folks that we're resending, and let me
Yep, and
tell a couple others
the
here.
link was sent. You see, here's the deal, folks that are watching. We could be high-end production TBN style, but we choose to keep it real, you
Yeah,
know. Again, our
we are.
people, yeah, we'll have to talk to our people about this and get things cracked into shape. So,
Yes.
of course,
Well,
talking to my people means I stand in front of a mirror and start talking. So,
I know, totally. Yes. Let me
Chris
write
says,
to
"Greetings from
Tracy here.
Pennsylvania." There you go.
Well, it's so great to have people joining us from so many places.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. Ben Aldrich, Dilly Dilly, Pastor Bob's. Yes, Ben, Dilly Dilly.
Good.
he remembers. He remembers a
I,
few couple years ago when the beer commercial, the Dilly Dilly thing came out, and he was watching the service. I said, maybe at our church we'll replace the word "amen" when you agree with me with Dilly Dilly. So,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
so, but
Well,
yeah.
and Ben's an old friend from Illinois.
Oh,
And
good.
Chris, I see, was just on there
Yep,
too. Good
Chris.
morning to you, Chris. Good to see you today.
I'm glad she
She
didn't
says
add.
we're hilarious.
Yeah, I'm glad she didn't add looking at the end. Because we really
Yeah.
try.
Well, Bob, we are the two best looking guys on the internet.
We are. Yes, I agree. I've been turning away GQ email requests and all that stuff.
What are you going to do? And fighting off the women. That's what I have to do every day.
Well, as a single guy, that's probably,
I know but it's a cross that I bear. So
yes.
what are you
Yep.
going to do?
Yeah, it's not every day you get 20 emails from huskyfarmingwomen.com, it's
There you go.
so here we
That's
go.
awesome.
Hello from South Carolina. South Carolina, is liar, 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 lunatic, or Lord. He is definitely Lord. Good.
Yeah, and that's my podcasts for my Pastor Bob's coffee break for the month. Our new
Ah,
poster, our new mug, our new T-shirt says liar, lunatic, or Lord. And C.S. Lewis, a quote, of course.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about this month. Bob, you know, a lot of people argue about Jesus. Was he a prophet? Was he just a good man? Is he one of many prophets? Is he a son of God and there are others? And,
Yeah.
you know, and actually you have to decide who you say he is, because he said he was the only way. He said he was Lord, and those around him said the same thing. So you see, it's you know, my good friend here at Courtney's, where I'm sitting, is bringing me some fresh coffee here.
Wow.
All right.
Got to keep the logs in the
You're
fire. To
awesome.
keep it
Thank
going.
you. Great.
You know,
So we have fresh coffee. Yeah.
you had the T-shirt in one of your old Cornerstone picks, and I had the T-shirt as too when from Bellyacre Designs out of Chicago, Jesus People, and it
Yes.
said "Liar, Lunatic, Lord" on it.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
yeah, I remember having that
Good.
shirt.
Well,
Somebody says, "Good morning from Olathe, Kansas." I have my youth pastor from growing up lives in Olathe. His name's Carlo Grissetta.
really?
Yeah, very
Oh,
cool
that's
guy.
awesome.
So
Well, and the city isn't all that. Yeah. So Tracy Ferrie says, it says the session ended and it says you are backstage.
well,
We're having some glitches.
Yep, this is definitely something on their end. So what I'm going to do one more time is send them all the link, and just let Tracy know to check for the most recent email.
Okay.
Because Tracy
All right,
Ferrie
and
is somebody we're going to want to talk to, because here's a guy that's got a lot of history as well.
Well, he does, yeah. Did you know that he used to be one of the elders in Sanctuary?
Really?
Yeah, he's
Well,
a
I didn't know
great
that.
guy. Besides all of his music background, he's an old sanctuarian. Yes.
Good. And he went from he filled in he was a fill-in for Stryper, if I understand right.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
And then but he also did stuff with Boston, you know.
He just that was his last gig, bass player for Boston. But he's played with so many. He played with the Michael Sweet band, as you know, for a lot of years too.
Yeah.
And but he's been with so many people. If we had him name his list of folks that he's been with, it's a long list.
That's
Very
something.
talented guy. Yes.
So the
Yes.
I find that interesting. When I was down by your place a few years back, I stopped in at Memphis and decided to do the tour of Sun Studios and stuff like that. And it's funny how some of these big musicians are actually on the behind the scenes for a lot of bands when it comes to studio sessions.
Yes.
Jerry Lee Lewis, you know, for instance, he was originally just a studio piano player, and that's all they wanted him to be. And then he broke out into what was his phenomenal career.
Yeah, and Great Balls of Fire, and
Yep.
and then his two cousins, Mickey Gilley and Jimmy Swaggart,
Yep.
kind of did pretty well too. So yeah. So Tracy says,
here we got Josh here.
Okay, but Tracy said he got a text from 917 this morning, and he said he's in the back room waiting for an administrator, it says. So
Okay, well, have him log out and then check the most recent email. I literally just sent it. And yeah, this is a little unheard of to have glitches like this on
yeah, it is
programs. So
yeah.
But you know, our friend
Yes.
Joshua's here, so maybe we could
Well,
go into.
we'll get there.
Yep. We got.
So we'll
Steve
see if
here
he
saying
goes
good.
in. I just had a glitch with you there. So
Okay, so we could
Leavenworth, Kansas.
Yeah, if
Good.
you wanted, we could jump down to Joshua. If you wanted, otherwise we can wait for Tracy.
Well, let's see. What time is it? Let's see if Tracy is going to be able to join us here.
Okay.
I told him to log out and log in. So
this program really is quite good. It's just
Yes.
it's we've only had one other glitch before, and that was back when we had Eric Clayton on. It was just decided to have its moment and give us a difficult time. So here's
Yes.
Tracy coming
Well,
in. All right.
good.
Should we welcome him in?
Let's do.
All right.
Awesome.
What? Here we go.
Good morning, Tracy. We did
Hi,
it.
Tracy.
Well, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger had an easier time getting through the time portal in Terminator than I did with this thing. I feel like I should be in the fetal position and naked right now.
Yeah, I know.
We were just explaining that this program works really well, but there was one other time that we had a guest done a show and it just glitched out, and there's must be something in the matrix, I guess. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
I also have a 2012 MacBook Air. So I have a new one on the way.
There you go.
It's on its way, but this is the one I have right now. So
Well, and you look good. You look good.
well,
You look marvelous.
I have things going on today. I teach a class, music school at a private school, Trinity Christian Academy.
Oh, cool.
Another interview after this, and anyways, rehearsal.
Wow.
All kinds of things going on.
So you're not busy or anything?
Nah, just sitting around eating bonbons on the Chase Lounge.
So Tiffany says good morning, and Darren Williams, they're online, and these are all people from the old sanctuary, Tracy. If you remember Tiffany, she was one of them. So she said, and Darren says, I miss Tracy. What's that?
I said, friends are friends forever.
There you go.
The Lord is the Lord of them.
There you go.
So I was just telling Bob that you actually were an elder in the old sanctuary many, many, many years ago, huh?
Yeah, and strangely enough, I've been going through an ecclesiology class. I just handed my last assignment in, and the elder was not referring to one's age or necessarily time in a certain congregation. I was a fairly new member of sanctuary at the time, wasn't I? Maybe a year and a half in.
Yeah.
And
it's a couple of years ago before you started getting really busy, and actually you moved at that point too, I think.
Yeah, about a year or so after that.
Yeah,
it was an unusual call back east, and it didn't make sense. It wasn't something I would ever think of. So I really believe it was the Lord calling me. To bring what was instilled in me through the sanctuary instructions and take it out, take it to the world, the Great Commission.
That's awesome. And you have done that. We called this segment Legends Confessions. And whether you like it or not, we were just talking about getting old, because I'm 69 years old today. And I think, how did I get here? How did I get this old? But, there's been a lot of years between us. Tracy, you and I have been friends for 35 plus years. But during that time, you've been busy with music. And I remember you were in electric back in the old sanctuary days. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend getting married and going on the road on the same week.
Not a great idea, I know.
It seems like that's the way it went.
Yeah. And Mary Beth didn't understand that would be a pattern for quite a few years.
Yeah, I have a saying, Pastor Bob. Don't complain if your husband's on the golf course and you met him at the country club.
Yes.
Right?
There you go. That's true, isn't it? Totally. Well, Tracy, would you give us a little history? you know, from where you started in music, some of the people that you've played with, a lot of people are familiar with who you are. A lot of them, as you mentioned, what you've been doing will have an aha moment. Oh yeah, I remember that. Give us a start to finish.
All right, I'll try to remember. I'm not good at remembering all of the details. Sometimes I have to go back and look at my resume and I'm like, hey, oh yeah, and that's not any. It's just I'm always in the moment, so and that's as much as I can handle sometimes. But again, started with electric and was called to go back east. And during that time, I was looking for musicians to hook up with. I had a little bunch of guys I was jamming with, but I got a phone call.
Bob, are you
from Des
experiencing the same glitches that I am with them?
a little bit.
I've noticed that your frame froze
I
up.
think our
There
internet
you
is
go.
like just a little bit, Tracy. And the time you started the list, you're going like
No,
that.
I've been getting it just fine on my end though, but your screen is freezing out a bit.
Yeah, I just lost Pastor Bob for a
Yeah,
second.
he'll jump back in. So if you want to, you can continue on, and he'll just jump back in, and he'll just be part of our conversation then.
All right. Does it help if I use an accent or talk slower?
Right?
I've had so many road managers. When we go to another country, he'll try to speak in an accent and talk slower. I'm like, I don't think that's what they need.
You know, one of our friends that's watching right now, Rob Castles, he the first time I met him was at Cornerstone, and he's from, I think, North Carolina, and I'm of course Wisconsin here, and he goes, hey Bob, do me a favor, say North Carolina. And I said it just North Carolina. He goes, no, slow it down. You know? So I thought that was pretty interesting and funny as well.
So I'll jump back. I went to the East Coast, was looking for musicians, especially Christian. I thought, maybe there's pockets of people out here that I haven't heard of being on the West Coast.
Yeah.
During that time, I got a call from still a dear friend. I didn't know him at the time. I don't know how he got my information, but it was Des Dickerson.
Oh,
He's
nice.
a Nashville guy, Prince's guitar player.
Yeah.
At the time, he was Prince's guitar player, and he introduced himself and said, hey, I've got some bands in Nashville looking for bass players to record their albums and tour with them. One was White Cross and the other was Soraya.
Okay.
And I really fell in love with Soraya's information they sent me and the videos and such. And I liked the direction of the music. So I told them, well, there's one problem. I'm on the East Coast. And they said, we'll come get you. So they drove this rickety old trailer. It was the scariest thing I've ever seen. And behind a van, and they moved me to Nashville. And from there, I played with Soraya. I did join White Cross a little bit later on. It was around that time Michael Sweet had asked me several times to join his band as his solo career. I eventually was able to open my schedule to do that.
Wow.
And during that time and around all those times, I was Rebecca St. James. If you're familiar with her, Rebecca St. James, her brothers for King and Country. So those guys were my roadies. They set up my amps and the lights and the smoke machine in my face and all that stuff. I remember I'm like, guys, can you move the smoke machine away from my guitar for a second?
You know, it's funny because there's a lot of roots in that way in Christian music. Before I went into becoming a youth pastor, I was a music buyer for many years for Christian bookstores, and you start finding things out like, who's related to who, and like there's Phil Kagi, of course, but then there's a Sherry Kagi who, they're related, and that's an interesting story about for King and Country with Rebecca St. James that not too many people know about.
Yeah, so they're doing great. But moving along from there, I was Rebecca's bass player for over 3 years. Right after that, I joined the band Plum. Tiffany Lee Arbuckle. Now it's Tiffany Lee is her last name. She's married to, was our road manager at the time, Jeremy Lee. And played with Guardian when David Bach needed to be home with his family, had teenagers. I get that now. He's like, I got to take a break, and there's only one guy who would want to fill my shoes, and so I went out for the Bottle Rocket tour. Had a great time with Tony and all the guys, and anyway, so after Sonic Flood, have you heard of Sonic Flood?
Oh yeah,
a lot of praise and worship in churches were contemporized from Sonic Flood's remaking of songs. And let's see, after that, I was asked to join the band Stryper. I felt a call to move from Nashville back east again. Felt that calling, and during that time, actually on the way, I got a from Stryper's manager, Dave Rose, and he's like, "You're a pitch hitter, man. We need somebody ASAP." And I said, "Well, I'm on my way to Europe, playing a couple of weeks with Plum, and I'll be ending that band because I'm moving back east. It's not going to make sense for me not to be able to rehearse." And they understood. They packed up my stuff for me. the band, the road manager Jeremy was over there packing up my stuff and helping out. And then so as soon as the European tour was over, I literally flew to where is it? Disneyland, Orlando, and did a very quick rehearsal. My first rehearsal with the band Stryper. And we did Night of Joy, 3 sets, went fantastic, and kind of breathed a little bit of new life into the band for that time period. And I was in Stryper for almost 10 years, 2004 to 2009. Okay, not 10, 8, somewhere in there. And around 2010, I decided it didn't make sense for 2 bass players to go out on tour. That felt very Spinal Tap-ish to me. They were going to have Timmy do a set, and I was going to do a set. Like, why don't we just all play at the same time? That'd be very Spinal Tap. So it didn't make sense. And financially, it didn't make sense to have another hotel room, another expense. And, you got to make it make sense. So I said, hey, I'm backing out. And it was very shortly after that Tom Scholes from Boston gave me a call. And it was one of the few times, might be the only time that I can remember, that I have to audition for a band. There was no question, do you want to go on the road? And the only answer I could say is, of course, I'm going on the road with Boston. What are you crazy?
That's a no-brainer.
Why ask the question? Just say, pack your bag, pal. No, I actually, I felt something. Anyway, God just prepared my heart for that. And when I showed up,
thank you.
When I showed up for my first rehearsal, it was almost a supernatural ability to not just learn the songs, but any alterations of the songs that I'd never heard before. And there's sort of orchestral extensions into like foreplay, long time. And he was showing me on the spot, and my hand was literally just replaying the notes he's playing on the keyboard there. Kind of complex lines in various modes that were changing, and not just the modes, but the rhythms and stuff. And my hand would just repeat it like a parrot. And he would say, "How did you do that?" And I would, inside my mind, I'm not sure. And I would just kind of smile, like, let's just keep going. It was like that, though. It was like God had prepared my mind, my body, my previous preparation to do that gig. It was not a difficult transition to jump into that. And so 2017 was the last tour. And after that, at least, as things stand now, I took a job with a local church a week after I got home. It's funny. Wow. When I was on the road, some of the other members, they have normal jobs. One of the drummer is a school teacher, and he was concerned for my family. He's like, "What are you going to do when you get home?" I go, I actually don't know. Yeah. I said, well, I live my life trusting God in every season. and I could email him back, a couple weeks later. I remember our conversation. I go, I got a job like as soon as I got home as a worship pastor. Again, I've been in Christian music for 25 plus years, but I'd never been the leader of a worship team.
Okay.
I've led worship, on occasion, but I'm not a solo guy from, one man band kind of thing. But I very upfront with the pastor. I said, listen, I've been in the kitchen with the best chefs of the world, but I'm cutting onions. I've never made the meal and planned the meal and all that stuff. And he goes, I trust that you'll still do a great job. And he gave me a chance, and I've been doing that for 3 years now.
Wow, that's awesome.
I have a couple local bands that I play with, corporate bands that do big functions, and I also have a little club band that's fantastic. Can literally play any song that people request, and I don't. It's freaky. We're just a little trio, and people will come up and request the craziest complex songs, and we'll just do it.
That's really
Fearlessly.
cool. I pastor a church here in Wisconsin, and it's no doubt it's probably was a thing for you to get used to being a worship leader of a church. And but boy, what a blessing for a church to have a talent like you and the other people on the worship team as well, to be able to lead and do that. Do you get people that are showing up at church saying, I recognize you from, or anything like that?
Yes. And
Yeah.
also the local element. We'll strike up a conversation on our break, and people will ask what I do during the day, and people have been showing up to church, and they come back and they come
That's
back. And so
fantastic.
it is. And my pastor, he's just a wonderful guy, and he's very open to me being social in the community. He's not, hey, I don't think this is a good look for our church. In fact, he's like, wow, that guy's here because you were playing at that club down the street, or you were playing for this guy, that guy.
It's really true. We have quite a few years ago, we had a great worship leader, and they ended up having to move on, but out of the state. But they, I think they may still be in the state, but they said, when you bring in a good worship leader who knows music and everything, they said obviously there's the God element that the church is going to grow, but there's something about bringing in a solid musician, where musicians attract musicians.
Mhm.
And we found that to be very true. Having good musicians that attracted, and they gigged on the side too. They did cover stuff and jazz band and things. So no doubt you saw the same thing.
Well, let me make a couple comments. I know the difference between performance and a church service.
Yes,
I just wrote a paper. I'll send it to you, Pastor Bob.
that'd be great.
It's a congregation, not a concert. It's that simple.
Hmm.
And I had a great model at this place. You might have heard of them, Sanctuary, and they had a great band full.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
And it was never about an individual's flashy talents or we did love watching Pastor Bob tinkle up on the keyboard for a little solo. We always got a kick out of that, but it wasn't. It was never the focus of the worship time. It was more like a little treat. Hey, we get to hear Pastor Bob for a few seconds here. But that worship team, the model for me, congregational worship, and people would have mountaintop worship experiences between them and God. It was never about, and I even think there was conversations within the team about, hey, let's not draw attention to one person or
yes,
let's not overplay in such a way that people are like, oh, that was a cool lick, man.
Yeah.
But it was just a big picture of worship, and it wasn't fancy or overdone, but it was solid and good quality.
That's really good.
And that's my model. And I've been to a lot of churches, and they have it looks like, you're in this great theater production, and they've got all the bells and whistles, but nobody. I look around and nobody's singing along.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's a performance. Yeah,
You're watching. They're like, the music's so great here, but you're not singing. And I'm not there to watch other people, but in stadium seating, sometimes you can just take a nod and look around and
Yeah.
And my little church, it's not a big church, but it almost feels like a wind of singing coming at me, like it blows me back of these people. And awesome. I tell them, I go, you guys make my job so easy. I sometimes I'm a little worried. I may not be as prepared this week as I should have. And as soon as we start, it's like, forget about it. These guys, they take over. And, new people will come and say, do you have a choir? I'm like, yeah, you're it.
Yeah, you're it. You are the choir. Tracy, I remember being in a church service where the pastor said, you're reacting too much to the individuals on stage. So today the worship team is going to sit in the first few rows so you can't see them and lead worship from there. And I thought, that was such a great idea, but you're right. You're right. It isn't about the people. It's great to close your eyes and imagine something else, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And then that I still remember the emotional experience of those sanctuary services, and, emotion.
The best.
It's the bonding agent for memory.
Yes.
So that's why you remember bad things the most, and that's why you remember the good things. All the mundane get washed away somehow.
That's awesome.
I want a little fun, freaky fact. Boston was the first non-Christian band I've ever been in.
Oh, wow.
Or you could call it a secular band.
Well, that's true, isn't it?
That's the first. Yeah. Because I went from being in the high school band. Okay, during college, I did play some clubs but it was an all original band. It wasn't a cover band.
Yeah.
So I mean, as far as like playing non-Christian music, Boston was the first and only band in my history. Isn't that strange?
I think that's awesome.
But now is not the case. But it was quite a learning curve to jump into a club band that plays covers, because there's all these guys around town. That's all they've ever done. And then I jumped in. And I had to learn a lot of music, and that's why I probably say it a little bit proudly when somebody comes up and requests a song. You do Roy Orbison, Led Zeppelin, you name it, crazy, and just. It sounds like the record with three guys, and we do anyway. Another learning curve, which I alluded to before, was the being a worship pastor. A lot of the music I played was original music. Rebecca St. James, Stryper. We play a couple sets of music, and that's what you work on. You not have a catalog of 500 worship songs you can pull from. So there was a learning curve jumping into that. But I caught up, and now we're kind of ahead of the game. A lot of the songs we pick become popular a couple weeks later, and my pastor was making note of that. And I go, well, my wife and the other, I pull from, I'm always thinking as a team, because I know my limitations. And I ask somebody, why would I try to do a job that somebody can do better than I am? Let's be a team. I do this well, you do this well, so you do this.
Yes. Well, and that is what the church is all about. The church means the body. All of us collectively using gifts and talents together. And Tracy, you've always been good at that.
Yeah,
I appreciate that very much. Yeah.
We're the ecclesia, which is the local community of church.
Yes.
And it means to call out of, but you don't stay out. You come back together in community.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely. So, Bob, let me just ask you real quick. Who do we have in the green room?
We have Joshua Perahia right now in the green room.
Okay. Do you remember Joshua, Tracy?
I do. From Cornerstone and some other events, and
Yeah.
I was a big fan of the band, and
Would you like to stay on while we invite him on? I'd love to have you join us if you have time.
sure, just for about 5 minutes. Then I have to grab a glass of water
Awesome.
and come back on. I have 11 o'clock
Awesome.
meeting.
Well, I appreciate you working with us through our glitches. I actually had to connect to the business next door because the internet went out here. So that's why it was out
Yeah.
for a while. But
Well,
let's
since-
invite Joshua on if we can.
Okay. And there we go.
Hi,
Joshua,
gentlemen. God bless
good
you
morning.
guys.
Man,
Happy birthday.
And happy birthday to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Joshua and I were now, Josh, I'm 2 days older than you are, correct?
I'm not saying anything. I am not going to get into the subject.
Yeah, we've celebrated our birthdays, our almost birthdays together for a whole lot of years, and I always remember that we're born the same year and we're 2 days apart.
Right.
But Joshua, I don't know if you've met Tracy before,
Yeah,
Tracy
we've
Ferrie.
been on the phone. We've spoken a lot about everything back in the
Yeah.
day.
yeah, we've
Yeah.
messengered a
Mhm.
bit, and I have a lot of respect for this man's heart and his history.
Yes,
and
I do
it
too.
will never be forgotten, my friend.
Absolutely. Well, Josh, I remember the days when people would say, "Have you heard of this guy Joshua, who is such a great guitar player? He's the best." And in the very early days of Christian rock and roll, I hadn't met you yet, but I had certainly heard of you. Your talent preceded you, and then it was such a great time getting together with you. And you and I have been good friends for a whole lot of years.
Yes.
But Joshua, there's an exciting event coming up, and besides our birthdays and that we're getting a little older, you are doing a re-release of one of my favorite albums of yours.
Yes.
There it is. Yes, there it is.
Oh.
We have it on the screen.
Yes.
Intense Defense, which is such a great album. And I had actually invited Eric Tutabeni to be on with us too, but he's having trouble logging on.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah,
We're on the phone
he
together.
said he doesn't.
And I
have a
just
link
emailed
yet,
him
but-
again, so maybe he'll jump in.
Okay.
If he jumps in, I'll bring him into the room.
That'd be
Great. So, Joshua, you put together the band, Joshua. You've
Right.
played with a whole lot of people throughout the years, as has Tracy. You guys have been around a little bit.
Yes.
You pulled a lot of people into the band that were, great artists. Name a few of those folks that you've worked with.
Jeff Fenhold, Rob Rock. I mean, there's 168 guys, Pastor. 168 guys coming and going.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Wow.
Serious as a heart attack. Yeah, it's I don't know, it's a revolving door, and of course, who's going to get attacked for it? They're going to blame me that I'm sending guys out, making them crazy. I promise, I never did. It's just that factor greed or whatever comes in, and I don't like to talk about money. That's one thing. I've always split everything 5 ways. Even though I wrote all the songs, I'm glad to split everything with the band. But little things happened, and but I got to
absolutely
meet wonderful musicians. They were just the best players. Everybody, especially the last album.
Yeah,
I worked with a lot of guys. They were all secular in the last lineup from bands Black Sabbath, Dio, and for Resurrection, my album Resurrection. And Mark Bowles, who I think is the greatest singer in the world. I'm just going to say, God forgive me if I insult you. You're all great singers, but something about Mark Bowles, he's just a mighty, powerful, anointed voice.
Yes.
Witnessed to him a lot, and had some really nice vibes with him in the recording studio. Win Davis Total Access recording in Redondo Beach here.
Yes. Right. Yeah, I know that place.
I don't know if you remember all these guys over here. Everybody was recording over here, from Motley Crue to Great White to everybody.
Yeah, right. It was very popular. Actually, Motley Crue didn't live that far away from the studio.
Right.
Most of the guys. Yeah. I remember the old days. Tracy, you remember those days when we used to spend time on the streets in Hollywood, and there were all the bands. Every band was there handing out their. You remember that, Joshua, handing out their flyers and
Yes,
come to my
absolutely.
concert. No, come to my concert.
Yes.
It's funny. To this day, nothing to do with anything well, maybe or maybe not, but I don't celebrate Halloween. But I think when you just said that, I'm like, who needed a day to dress up? We dressed up every day, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that totally true? It is.
Yes.
It is true.
Yes.
We'd hit the
And
strip,
especially when people would go to the streets.
we'd hit
Friday
the
and Saturday
strip
night.
full regalia,
I
Oh
and
know.
my gosh. How fun was that?
It was
Weren't those
fun.
great days though? I mean, these
Yeah,
are good
yes.
days, but
Yes,
those
absolutely.
days, man,
It
such
just hit me
great
though one day.
memories.
I just couldn't put that stuff on anymore. I just after about 2 years of it, I just stayed in leathers and just played my heart out, just to trying to be myself without getting other things to get in the way. And
Yes,
you know what I'm getting at. Just I've
I
always
gotta
Yeah.
fly. I'm gonna grab
I
some
totally
water,
do.
and I love you guys.
Well, Tracy, thank you for joining
Thank you,
us. I
Tracy.
appreciate it. You're
I hope-
awesome. Thank
I
you,
hope
dude.
in
Love
some
you.
way we're all edified
And
together.
give your wife Mary Beth a hug for me if you
I
would.
will. Thank you.
Thanks,
And
dude. Blessings
thanks for
to
having
you.
me.
Okay,
Love you.
bye-bye.
So Pastor, how you doing? How are you doing? I really miss you. I haven't seen you in a long time.
I know. We when I was in California, we used to be able to chat.
Yes.
And ever since I moved, it's been difficult to get together with everyone. But
Oh.
one of the great things about being good friends for a long time is that whenever you see each other, it's like you saw each other yesterday.
Yes. Yes.
And
I remember
I
our
appreciate
beautiful.
that, Joshua. I feel that way with you, even though we've been in touch since then, obviously. But
Right.
it really is great to see you. So, Josh, one of the most difficult things in music is the pressure, you and I share one trait, and that is that we're perfectionists.
Oh. It's kind of a
And
little bit of a curse, but yeah.
yeah, well, it's a blessing and a curse, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
And when it's difficult sometimes to record, it's difficult sometimes to you know to um uh to get everybody else on board with
Yes.
let's do that one more time. No, I like the way it was.
Yeah.
But the thing that I've always appreciated about you is that you've never let anything go out that wasn't right,
Oh.
that didn't sound good, and that is your heart, isn't it?
Yes. God bless you. Thank you for that. Yes, that was probably the most. You just hit the pinnacle of all the problems we were having. That would always lead to something else. So
Yeah.
yes, the perfection, and then the other guys, it's good enough, no matter who it was, and it just would break my heart. And I probably have a little bit of a funny look on my face, but I just like when everything is just spot on. You get this
Yes.
feeling, it just washes over you, and I know the Lord's in that room and He's working with us, and it's
That's
just
awesome.
magical. It's really magical.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I always came to expect when I heard a Joshua album. I knew it was going to be good because you
Oh,
spent time with it, and I
yes.
appreciate your labor for so many years. So I personally endorsed one of your albums, my picture inside, and endorsed it, and the
Yes.
one you did with Jeff Venhold, which was
Yes.
a great album. Tell us about that album, how it came to be, and
Well, Surrender was a real departure. It became the sound of the band because the first album, I was Greek Orthodox at the time, and the spirituality wasn't there with the Greek Orthodoxy. Let me
sure,
write this phone.
that's okay.
It was just a little different. I love the Lord all my life. My mom was always telling me about the Lord and to read the Bible. I made tape recordings of scripture and trying to be a
Yes.
pastor.
And I remember those days with your mom.
Oh,
Yes.
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 And so, but then Surrender came along, and Jeff came along, and Pastor Hal Lindsey put us together.
Yes.
Jeff, just getting out of some of the things he was doing that was very secular. And I consider my first album, even though it says dedicated to the glory of God, I consider it a secular album. The lyrics weren't what all the rest of the records were. So it was really hard going from The Hand is Quicker Than the Eye, which is a guitar flash and stuff, then moving over to something that's a little heavier. And I kept that sound. And thank God Jeff Fenhold came into my life, because that mighty voice of his, that powerful,
Oh my gosh.
operatic voice, his voice just helped me write songs more for his voice. I always like to write for the singer of the album. And I wrote for every single singer the songs for them, and I would change the keys for their vocal tone and their ranges. And Jeff just had such a powerful range that I just started cutting loose with everything with Jeff, and it was just everybody was either crying or aghast, just with the jaws hanging down in the room, and people from other buildings were coming over when they heard him singing "Surrender" or "Your Love Is Gone," and that just told me that I'm going to really get into this. I want to find my way with God, and "Surrender" just led on to Hannah's Quicker. I mean, it led on to Intense Defense, and then the fourth album, etc., to all the way to the seventh album. So
that was, so the album was I think it was pivotal for a lot of people, and it was for Jeff as well.
Yes,
it was awesome. So Terry Tripp was at my barbecue that I had this last week. And Terry is from the Tripp family, Laverne Tripp family. They had, they were on TBN almost every day. And Terry actually, when he was 13 or 14, had his own show on TBN as well. And Terry was at the very first sanctuary service we ever had when he was 13 in California. Huge metal fan, huge fan of you. But we were also talking about Jeff Fenhold, because, Jeff went on to work with them. Yes. And he just had such great memories of Jeff. Great guy. I love Jeff, and spoke with him quite a few times. And of course, we miss him. We miss him. He passed away.
It broke my heart. It was probably the most stunning, horrible thing that ever happened. Such a close friend, my dearest brother, and he always told me, "You're my dearest Christian brother," and he would always call me if he got into some jam, and I need some counsel from another brother. Right. And so we always spoke deeply about the most important things, and we'd hang out with him in Balboa. I take my son Davey, and we go there and hang out with Jeff all day. So just
now, Davey, how old is Davey now?
He's a young little baby at 23.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Yes, he's asleep in the other room here, and I want him so badly to just say hello to you. But he's my best friend. He's the most sweetest. I'm so proud of him. He's loving.
He's always been a really sweet kid.
Yes, always. Yes. And his heart's for God to the max. And he plays guitar incredibly. He really plays guitar incredibly, but it's not in his heart. He's seen some of the things that I kind of experienced, and he doesn't want anything to do with it. So he's getting into exotic cars. He's getting into the exotic car business.
Yes. So, isn't it interesting that so many offspring of people that have been in music kind of go, "Oh, no, I don't want to go that route." They see the hardship. It's not easy, is it, Josh?
No. And you have to go to Europe or Japan basically now, or South America, to have a successful career, because the USA, I don't know what they listen to here anymore. I have no idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, things have changed so much, and I agree. That when grunge came in, and Nirvana, and and Soundgarden, and all of those bands, the metal crowd left for whatever reason. It's not even good music, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
And but the rest of the world didn't. Metal has always been popular in the rest of the world.
Yes, like they weren't touched. There's no timeline there. That it's still the same exact thing. Where you go, it's as if it's one big long 70-year.
Absolutely. So, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry for our glitches and that we're off time today, but I can't tell you how good it is to see you, my friend.
Thank you.
And happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday. Thank you so much.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Thank you, guys.
And I'm glad we shared that. And please say hello to Davey and the fam. And
I will.
And stay in touch.
I will. My pleasure.
Love you, my friend.
Love you too. God bless you guys both.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wow.
Great guy, dude. Great guy.
Amazing interviews here. I don't know that a lot of the new Christian music enthusiasts understand how epic this show is with the history that we've been bringing into
yes. These are great folks. And just Tracy and Joshua, who are both old friends, they both have left their mark in this industry that few people understand. That's true. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely. Well, do we have Lebo in the house?
We don't have Lebo. I'm not sure where he is, but I got some guy sitting here with what goes by the name of Axel Blues.
Oh yeah. And do we have Dana yet?
We don't have Dana yet, but
okay. So you talk for a minute, and I'm going to see. I'm going to post the link.
Okay.
In let's see here.
Yeah, what I think people need to understand, and I'm sure a lot of them do, that's watching these shows every week, Two Pass Robs and a Microphone. I recently listened to an interview where the DJ was interviewing Mick Jagger and other big interviews, and which is big for the mainstream side of life. But some of the people we're bringing into this show are on that stage in the Christian genre.
Yes.
And so when you see a Joshua Perahia show up, it's like, oh my goodness, this guy, or whoever we get in. I mean, even Tracy Ferrie, what he's contributed to the Christian music industry.
Yes.
A lot of times people don't necessarily understand. They think they're just metal, but like Tracy Ferrie, I mean, here's a guy that's on a metal forum with us, but at the same time, he's worked with Rebecca St. James and Plum and a lot of these people here. So it's a pretty exciting thing to have these folks on this show able to talk about their experiences.
Yes. And Bob, Tracy and Mary Beth, when I first moved to Nashville, I stayed at their house. I lived with them until I got acclimated here.
Oh, okay.
So they've just been dear friends, which is very awesome.
Well, we do have now, by the way, we have Dana and Axel Blues in the house.
All right.
Should we go into their segment?
Let's do.
There they are.
And there they are. Hey, you guys.
Morning.
Morning.
So, and we've been talking about birthdays, and Dana is also a birthday boy today.
Happy birthday, Bob.
Happy birthday, Dana.
Happy birthday.
So that's cool. Happy birthday to you. Dana and I have been friends. Well, we've all been friends for a long time. I've known Andrew for many, many years too. But we used to go to, was it the Olive Garden? You used to work there. And we used to go and celebrate our birthday there. Yes. So I'm hearing some glitches. Are you all hearing that?
Yeah. Might be my mic. Hold on.
So I think maybe
I think I've relegated it down to Andrew's feed. So
okay.
Is that better?
Yes. There we go. I think it is.
I shut my truck down.
Andrew, I've known you since you were I've known Dana since he was a teenager. I've known you that long too, haven't I? Can you hear me, Andrew?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, great. I was just saying I've known you since you were a teenager also.
Yeah, since
and you're both driving a truck today. How cool is that?
And I should point out that Andrew is rocking the sanctuary pin on his hat as well.
Dude, you're awesome. Absolutely. Well, driving a truck is not an easy job, and I don't enjoy driving as much. So you have to enjoy the driving. Dana, you have not only been driving a truck, but Bob, have you ever seen that show where the truck drivers drive across the ice? What is the name of the show?
Ice Road Truckers.
There you go. So Dana has been one of those truckers.
Oh,
And
wow.
Bob, do you have that segment?
I do. I'll roll it right now.
I want to show that. Yeah.
It is long before sunrise at California's Port of Oakland. Each day, more than 11,000 trucks are ready to cross the same treacherous stretch of highway we're heading right into. This is I-80 East to Nevada. All right, this is our ride. I'm Dave.
Dana.
Hey, how
Nice
are
to
you?
meet you.
Dana Nelson has invited us along for the ride. What are you hauling today?
I think I've got speaker boxes.
Speaker box.
Speaker boxes.
Awesome. The drive is long, so you need the music, but it's also dangerous. We're headed over the famed Donner Pass.
It's one of the most dangerous passes in the U.S.
It really is.
It is.
Still.
Fatalities every year. The weather changes dramatically in a matter of minutes.
That's because it's here where I-80 climbs to 7,200 feet, making it one of the snowiest places in the United States. On average, more than 30 feet fall each year, and it was double that snowfall in the years 1880, 1890, 1938, and 1952, when more than 60 feet of snow fell at the top of this hill, even when it's sunny in California when Dana left the port.
I've been known to throw chains in shorts. The snowpack on the side have been up to 8 to 10 feet.
We ran into some rain, and often that's more dangerous than the snow.
It's going to put a layer of ice on top of the snowpack that is there. Now it's going to slide down, like the camera.
Drivers in the cars on the pass are often distracted by scenery, the blowing snow, their phones, unaware of the hard work these drivers put in every day.
And we had a guy get stuck up here for 3 days once.
This time, Dana got lucky.
I leave before the kids wake up, and I'm usually home to help with dinner.
So from sunshine on the
And I watched that, and I watched that when it first came out. And I have to tell you guys, we never think of the perils and how dangerous it is to drive. So Dana, would you still do that these days?
Oh yeah, I still do. I live in Washington, so I go over Lookout.
Yeah.
It already has snow on it.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Wow. Well, so you guys are driving today, both of you. You're tell us your location. Dana, where are you at right now?
I'm in Spokane.
Spokane?
Yeah.
And all right.
I'm
And
just a
Andrew,
local
where are you
driver
at?
now.
What's your location?
I'm down here in eastern Alabama on
Wow.
285. 885.
And tell us where your home base is, both of you.
I'm in Spokane. I'm actually outside of Spokane, up in the mountains, and I got a new job working as a local driver, so I don't ever go home. I don't ever leave anymore.
Yeah, that's
Took me
awesome.
20 years.
You don't have to do so much driving. Andrew, you still do a lot of driving, don't you?
Yes, I do. I drive line haul out and back from outside of Bloomington, Illinois. Flatbed
That's so awesome.
drive.
Well, you guys, life on the road is something else. And I've heard both of you say, I'm thinking about another profession. You both said that in the past.
In the past,
But there's something about it that kind of gets in your blood, I think. Is that true?
oh yeah, I won't ever leave it. I mean, I've said it before, but I have a great
Yeah.
company now. I haul cars back and forth. I never leave town. I'm stoked.
That's so awesome. Well, you guys, happy trucking.
Thanks for
I'm so
joining
glad
us.
You joined us for a
Thank
few
you.
minutes today, and it's good to see you. And Andrew, we'll have you come back sometime and talk about what is the name of the band that you play in again? I forgot.
the Blues Truckers.
The Blues Truckers.
Nice.
Plays Monica with the Blues Truckers. So we'll talk about that another day. And Dana, happy birthday, my old friend.
Happy birthday to you. And I wanted to say it was fun seeing Joshua because when I was
Yes.
16, I was his roadie. I was his guitar
Yes.
tech. That guy taught me
I remember.
so much.
Yeah,
I saw him.
and it was great to have him on today, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yes.
Awesome seeing him.
Absolutely. Well, you guys, love you both, and we'll
you.
see you soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Great. Well, it's fun to
Awesome.
have them. And, Bob, driving a truck, and I used to drive our farm trucks, which were not that big. It was my least favorite thing to do.
Oh yeah.
Definitely could not be a trucker.
Huh. Yeah, that would take a special whole new skill set to do that. That's
Yes.
for sure.
Oh, absolutely. It sure
So,
would.
Yeah. Well, we have Lebo in the green room,
Awesome. Awesome.
so
get him
we'll
on.
bring him in.
Well, it said medal report, so I
Yes.
guess you got to change your identity today, Lebo.
All right. I'll take that.
How you doing, Lebo?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
There you go.
Good. Life in
So-
Wisconsin's gotten a little chillier. We woke up
Now,
to
what
20
is it there?
We woke up to 24 degrees and we'll get up to 32 today. So,
Wow. Well, we woke up to 37, so
there you go.
it's cold for here
That's
too.
cold.
But yeah, I've been there in your city when we had a blizzard when most places closed down.
Winter storm warning. Yep.
Yeah, that's true. So Lebo, by the way, is a phenomenal guitar player. Been in a lot of bands, but his day job, is that how we say it? I'm a musician, but my day job, is really running the ministry that we have for the homeless. And my mom and I were just talking about that we don't know what we would do without him because he does such a phenomenal job. But part of that phenomenal job, Lebo, is connecting with the people who are homeless and the people who really need a family. Talk about that for a minute.
Well, yeah, I'm blessed to be a part of the homeless ministry, and one of the rewards, like Bob just said, is being able to. You really do kind of create a family. We have some folks that, hey Amber, somebody said hey Lebo there. That the transitions that we make with the folks that we serve, it takes time, and a lot of the folks we see a lot. Some of those folks have been down there for a few years, haven't they, Bob? And we get new faces all the time, and it's great when we see people kind of move on, but we kind of keep up with them, and it's just a blessing. We kind of create a family environment, and like any family, we have our challenges.
Yes.
We had a couple interesting and eventful days last week. One Sunday, right, Bob? But the people are great, and you get a chance to be there, and I learn as much from them as anything that I can give. I just really am blessed to be a part of that.
Yeah, and it's frustrating being homeless. I mean, it's frustrating. You can imagine being on the streets and being without everything. And so he's talking about Sunday. We had, Bob, I don't know if you're aware, but women fight a lot dirtier than men do.
Oh, they do.
I mean,
in
you get a
sports
good
and
cat
everything
fight going, and half the people are watching and cheering them on, and the other half are trying to pull them apart. But we had two women. One of them came a little bit too high, pushed the buttons of the other one, and and there was a big a big cat fight, and it took a lot to pull them apart. I
Oh,
mean, a
man.
lot to pull them apart. So, but the one girl has eaten with us for a long time, and she's been part of our family. She came over and said, "I am so sorry," and I hugged her and just, said, "We understand." Lebo did the same thing, and then she went over to my mom and apologized to her as well. But you never know what's going to happen, and people on the streets, Lebo, are already a bit frustrated, aren't they?
Yeah, and she actually came to our defense because the girl who was high, that was actually a newer girl, was trying to flip over tables.
Oh, boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And good
So,
luck trying to flip over a picnic table.
Yeah,
they're not light. No. Yeah.
But yeah, it's we have folks that who are homeless who help us set up, and it's they're an integral, I guess I'm saying that right, part of what we do. And one of those is a husband and or soon to be husband and wife, right, Bob?
Yes. Yes.
And
I'm going to do another wedding under the bridge. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
They're there every day, always there to help set up, take down.
Yes.
One of them even has cooked before and brought food. So on his little propane burner, then he had to show me how to fry chicken,
Yeah.
Make sure that I knew how.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I love them. They're great.
So these days, Lebo, we realize that it gets tougher and tougher as the weather gets colder. And you said the little burner. We buy these little burners that fit on the end of a little propane canister, and it can be used for cooking, but it can also be used to keep people warm. And then every day we refill the canisters so that they always have some propane. And it's tough out there. It's really tough out there. And I'm excited to do that. We buy as many as we can. We can't always afford a whole lot of them, but we try to keep the people that are most vulnerable as warm as we can. But a good friend came down on Sunday with his family, and they hadn't been there for many years, and he was just watching everything mostly. And he watched as you set up the barbecue and then brought down the steam table from the truck and set up all the food and all the stuff, and all the homeless folks that helped know exactly what to do. And he said, this is amazing. And then he used these words. He said, "You have a well-oiled machine here." And that's to your credit, Lebo. You really organized some great folks. Yeah.
You really do. When the times that I've been able to be down there, and even for the barbecue back a couple months ago, Lebo keeps that thing running really well. And
he does.
We got to see the progression from the white food shed that you used to be in. Remember, we used to help repair that, Pastor Bob, and to what it is now. And each time we've come down, especially these last couple times, it's definitely has Lebo's touch on it. It's a very, very well-tuned machine.
Awesome. It is a well-tuned machine. It's called job security.
Yeah.
See, we're at the place right now where we can't run this without him. So whether he likes it or not, he's stuck with us.
Yes.
That's the thing.
It's not intentional. It's my OCD. I like to have things.
and my daughter made a new friend on this last trip with your daughter, so she wants to come down again in the worst way.
There you go. Well, that's awesome. Come on.
My daughter loved it too, and I'm always trying to find things for my daughter to do. So you guys come on down.
And so that helped, didn't it?
Yeah. And Bob, you were talking about the propane tanks. This is also getting the season where we need to get coats and boots and things of that. So
besides food, there's a lot of things. Tents, we're really low on tents, and sleeping bags. And, you know, Lebo, I hate fundraising, but I don't hate talking about the needs, because I know there are a whole lot of people that would love to respond to the needs if they just knew what the needs are and how to respond. And so, you know, that's the greatest thing. And folks, you can donate. You can. Sanctuaryinternational.com is the place to go, and you can donate through there. It'll tell you where to go. Also, you know, Lebo, we have our coffee, and we actually serve it every Sunday. We do Headbangers Brew with our homeless friends, but we have that for sale, and all of our stuff in our store, and all the profits from all of this go to help to fund the homeless. And we're excited that it is a good chunk, that it really helps, but it's everyone working together that make this work. People from all over the world that help financially, and it's an encouraging thing, isn't it, Lebo?
Yeah, and speaking of job security, Bob, because I have to admit, I'm not a coffee drinker, but Bob has said that has to change. That's
yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's two
And
things.
and so, go ahead.
There's two things that need to change when you meet Pastor Bob. Number one, you have to end up becoming a Mac user, and number two, you have to drink coffee.
So
You
true.
have to. Yes.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I've laid hands on Lebo and prayed for healing for his lack of coffee addiction. And so I'm hoping in Jesus' name that things will change at some point. Yeah.
Now,
And I should just point out too that they can get to the page as well that you were referencing if they go to the we are metal we are family.com. That's the other site, like, that's all encompassing with everything we're talking about here today.
Everything, and all the products and all of that.
Yep.
So, Bob, as you know too, and I don't know if our folks know, but while the food is important and people are hungry, we get a lot of our folks are really just there for the coffee, right?
There you go.
Yes.
No, we do have a lot of coffee folks who just, I mean, you know, we're probably one of the few homeless ministries that actually serve hot coffee. So that's really
and in the middle of the summer and it's 100 degrees and 98% humidity, they're drinking coffee. Yeah.
And there's
it's
nothing better
amazing.
than to get with somebody and talk
There you
about
go.
Jesus over some nice hot coffee, right?
A little bit of, yes. So we had Oktoberfest on Sunday, and it's just kind of a fun thing that we did instead of Halloween. And so I announced that for Oktoberfest, and we do this every year, and I do the same joke every year, and they fall for it every year. But I said, you know, we're celebrating Oktoberfest, and we're going to have beer. And it's yay, yay, yay. And I said, you know, and we have two kinds of beer. Yay, yay. Ginger beer and root beer. Oh. Wasn't exactly what they were looking for. And then we play the Papa music, you know, old German polka throughout the whole time. So by the time we pack up and leave, they've had ginger beer or root beer, and they're tired of Papa music, and as were we.
Yeah.
But it's about celebration, and you know, when you're on the street, there's nothing to celebrate. So we try to find some unique things that we can celebrate, but mostly, as Lebo said, it's about family. Talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, one thing to realize is that, contrary to popular belief, most folks who are on the street are there obviously not because of drugs, while that does exist, and we've talked about this before, but a huge part of that is social anxieties. You know, they don't know how to deal in society, They don't know how to
Yes.
deal with jobs. They don't know how to deal with people. And so one of the great things in ministering to folks and being able to present the gospel subtly and in certain ways when the opportunity comes is that we get to break down some of those barriers. We get to,
Yes.
you know, sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and then, but once you, like, we have this one beautifully elderly woman, her name's Rosemary.
Yes. Yes.
Who, you know, she keeps threatening to marry me. And she's there, and she doesn't have anyone that's like,
no,
she doesn't have anybody. She looks so forward to us coming there every day, and she's just, that's the highlight of her day. And so,
and we have many like that. And you know, to me, Lebo, that's the best part of what we do, isn't it? That we've been able, and I have to say, I didn't expect that. You didn't either getting into it. We thought we're just going to do a good deed. We're going to start serving these people. And yeah, it's been just awesome. Now, Lebo, behind you is a poster.
yes.
And it says Voices from the Street.
Yes.
And that is a new podcast you're about to do where you're going to start actually interviewing our homeless friends and hear their stories.
Yeah. I want to hear what they have to say about everyday issues, what they have to say about biblical ideologies and theologies.
Yes.
And, you know, theology.
Absolutely.
And I kind of just want to, I'm going to just kind of start the conversation and we'll see where it goes. I just want to hear,
awesome.
You know, what's on their hearts.
Yep.
So
that sounds great.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be awesome. Well, we're looking forward to it. Lebo, thanks for joining us. You know, it's Lebo's day off from the homeless ministry. And here he is. We make him work anyway, huh? But I know for him it's not work. It's his heart. And thank you, dude, for all that you do. And thanks for joining us.
Good to see you again.
good to see you. Happy birthday, Bob.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Have a blessed day.
Thanks.
Well, I tell you what, your internet's starting to glitch again.
Is it? Uh-oh.
Yeah. So that must mean the show's over.
It must mean that. And well, Bob, we've had some glitches today, but we had a great show.
Yeah, it was a great time. We worked through it, and you know, we'll be back ready to go again next Wednesday.
Yes. And we've got some great guests for Wednesday, and we're not talking. Join us again next Wednesday.
All right.
I love you, my friend.
You too. You take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.